Good evening, and today's problem is creating a system that has 3 inputs and 2 outputs. The way the circuit must react can be seen on this crude schematic I've drawn. So on the schematic, the third input pin decides where the input goes to. From here on out, we can make one of two choices. We can decide to reprogram everything and build up the logic from scratch, or we can use the mux we programmed in the previous video and use structural coding to design the circuit. And today we're going to do a tutorial on how to use structural coding. Okay, we're creating a new project. We're going to name the project program, and we're going to set the rest of the settings like we do always. Now we're creating a new VHTML file and we're copying the template I have designed. Okay, then we just save it as the program file, and then we create a new VHTML file. In this file we're going to copy the program we designed in the previous video. After it's copied in, we're going to save the file as toolbox. We're going to rename the entity inside toolbox mux 2x1 instead of program, because program is now the top entity and this is not going to be the top entity anymore. Now we're going to do the basics by filling in the entity name, inputs and outputs, as well as the architecture. Name the architecture. The component we're going to use is the mux 2x1, so we're going to name the component mux 2x1. This will tell Quartus to find the mux in the other VHTML file and import it into this program so it can be used. Components are almost exactly the same as entities. The input ports and the output ports as per usual, but instead of saying end entity, we're going to say end component, and this will import this component into the HTML structure. It is important to note that the inputs and outputs of the component must be exactly the same as what we declared it in the toolbox. If it isn't the same, the file will not compile. This is referred to direct mapping of structural coding. This is the one we're going to use today. I'm going to use the name U1 as the first component name and U2 for the second component. The component that you're going to use, we're going to use the mux 2x1. Say port map. In the brackets you indicate which inputs and outputs you're going to link with which. The input She is the S of the mux, and the outputs Q to link U1 to B out and U2 to A out. All that's left to figure out is how to connect D0 and D1 so that the logic corresponds with the design problem we're facing. Good to note that you're using the equal greater sign and not the less than equal sign for this port mapping. The next step is to compile the program, and hurrah, it compiled successfully. This marks the end of the video. Before I forget, the first person to comment on my video what I can improve will receive 50 Rand.